Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Welcome to Dev with Excel. All right, so in this video we shall be solving exercise 3.2. That's the step 2 of the phone book backend. So in the previous video we solved exercise 3.1 and we were able to start the server using npm start. But for some reasons we couldn't start the server, or we were not able to get the data returned on the browser here properly for some reasons why we used npm run dev, right? Meaning using npm run dev couldn't work for us properly, right? So in this video we are going to be seeing why npm run dev didn't work well in the previous video, right? Before we begin to solve the exercise for 3.2 itself. All right, so let's see what happened. All right, heading into the code implementation, I've been able to create another setup folder, right? And this is for the exercise 3.2. And then here we are simply going to cd into this folder. Let's terminate this operation and then let's cd into step 2. All right, fine. Now let's do npm run dev and then let's open the index.js file. All right, now if you recall, in the package.json file, we created a script which is dev, right? And this uses the nodemon index.js, right? So this helps us to watch for any changes that occurs in our program or in our code. That's what npm run dev does. When we do npm run dev, we are actually calling nodemon to start the index.js file, which helps us to start the server. Now, the reason why this did not work here, when we refresh this, let's refresh it again and see. As we can see, refreshing this did not still work. The reason is because, looking at this properly, the port number we used here is 3001, right? But in our code we used 3000. So the port number, they have to be the same, else nothing will be returned, right? So what we can do is we need to change this 3000 to 3001 and see what happens in the terminal here. The moment we change 3000 to 3001, something happens here. Watch. 3001, then I save it. All right, so we can see what's happened here. This server here, it restarted, right? That's the work of nodemon. Nodemon detected that there was a change in our code and then it restarted the server after we saved the code, right? So that's why it's good to use a library that helps us to watch for changes in our code when developing our project, right? So in this case we are using nodemon. There can be other types of libraries that can also help in watching for changes in our code, but here we are concerned with the use of nodemon for now, right? Now, after changing this port to 3001, let's go back to this part and then let's refresh this and see if we are going to get the data returned properly. All right, so here we can see that we have the data returned properly, right? So these are things we should take note of: the port number, when it is used, if there's any changes to anything in our code, right? Awesome. All right, so going into 3.2 proper, it says implement a page at the address this that looks roughly like this, right? So we are expected to write the code in such a way that our code returns phone book has info for the number of people in the data. In this case here, we know that here we have 4 people here, so we are expected to have phone book has info for 4 people. Then after that we also display the timing, the date and all of that here, right? Okay, all right, so here is what we can do. Let's simply just um minimize this part and then let's do the same, since we know that nodemon is already helping us to watch for changes in our code. We don't have anything to worry about. All right, so going back to the instruction so as to guide us into what we want to do. So we are concerned with this info endpoint, right? So what we do is we come again and say app dot. Now here we are still going to be using a get HTTP request. We say app.get then the quotes, then we say slash info, right? So this is going to become http colon double slash localhost, then this port number slash info, right? When we use our endpoints in our browser or in any of our client services, we get this returned after the code implementation. All right, so we also write our callback here. We use the rec and the res, right? So they only mean request and response. You can choose to name them anything, but make sure you name them something very descriptive. So it's okay to just leave it as rec res, right? Or request and response, right? But in so many codes, you are going to find rec res. You hardly find request response, right? All right. So what we want to do is this. Um, we are going to say res dot send. Then here we are going to say let's write phone book has info for dash people. Let's say phone book has info for, we know there are four people in this data, right? Say for four people. Let's save this. Let's see if this works in our browser. So let's change this persons here. In short, let's just duplicate this. And then let's change this API slash persons to info, right? Then let's hit the enter key. So it says phone book has info for four people. But if you recall, this four we wrote here is hard coded, right? What if the data here changes to five people? This will not change because this is hard coded. So let's write it in a way that this becomes dynamic, right? So what we can do is we are going to be using the template string. That's by using the backtick, the dollar sign, and the curly brace. So here we have the backtick here. Let's remove four. Let's write the dollar sign and the curly brace. Then inside of this part here, we are simply going to call the length of persons. So we copy persons and say persons dot length. So this gives us the number of items we have in this persons array. Let's save this and then let's refresh this again. So we can see that here we have phone book has info for four people also, right? If we removed this and then we save, we know that here we have three items now. This is going to change to phone book has info for three people. Let's refresh this. All right, so this is working dynamically. All right, so let's return the code to the way it was. Let's save this and then let's refresh. All right, fine. So this code works well. Now the next thing we want to do is, going by the instruction, we are also supposed to return this in our code. How can we do this? Okay, so there's a way to actually solve this, and to get this done, we are simply going to use the date method, right? The date method. So how can we do this? We also need to send this date method as well. So we can just come here and inside the backtick, let's put a full stop here. Inside the backtick here, let's put the date method in the dollar sign and curly brace, right? So if we do something like this first, this may not work properly. Let's save this and then let's go to the browser and then let's refresh. You can see we're having just date brackets because this is not working properly. Now, what we need to do is we need to copy this and then place it inside the template string. So let's cut this and then using the dollar sign with the curly brace, let's pass that date and the round bracket. Let's save this and then let's refresh again. Here we can see we have Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024, and this is the timing. Let's go to the instruction and see if that follows. Okay, so this starts with the day of the week, that's Saturday, then the month, exactly what I think we have here. The day of the week, the month, and the date. All right, so let's bring this to a next line so that it looks like this. Let's try using the BR tag, that's the break tag in HTML. So we do something like this. Let's save and let's refresh here. Okay, all right, so it's on the next line now. Let's create one more space, or let's take it to the next line one more time. So we refresh this and then we have this. So I think this looks almost the same way as this, right? So with this, we've come to the end of this code implementation, this exercise, right? But okay, in the next video, I am going to be showing us how to use another client service, which is not going to be the browser, right? We are going to be using the REST client. So if you look at the instruction here, there's a part here that the REST client was mentioned. Postman also was mentioned. Curl was mentioned. Now, all of these, they are just ways to help us to test the backend, right? This helps us to test the backend if it works properly. Now, this is Postman. There's another for the REST client. I think that's somewhere up, or I think it's somewhere downwards, right? Let's check downwards. Okay, so let's click on this. Yes, this is how the REST client works, right? So we are going to be using this in the next video. We won't be using the browsers anymore, right? So if you enjoyed this, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video. Bye.